Right, everybody, welcome to this channel, which is, and obviously it's new, it's something that I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. So this channel actually focuses on the prison system in Scotland, and the criminal justice system as an extension of the penal system, and obviously all the issues that kind of surround that. So for those of you that obviously don't know, I'm an ex-offender. I spent about half my life in one prison or another. I got sentenced as a 15-year-old and I got sentenced as a 21-year-old. So those two sentences amounted in total to like 20 years. So I've spent like a vast portion of my life locked up. I got out in 2019. I've been gone straight ever since. Sorry, I've got a cold. I've had a cold from Monday and I've been trying to do this video for, well, I've been thinking about it for a while, but obviously this is me just doing it. So what I really want to talk about is how I came up with the name and how I came to be doing this. So for those of you that don't know, so TinPailTV, right? So TinPail is rhyming slang for jail in Scotland. So that was the reason I came up with the name. I was going to put Digger TV or something, which the Digger is, there's two sides to that. The Digger is actually what we call solitary confinement in Scottish prison. So if you said, oh, he was in the Digger or he just got out the Digger, it means he just got a solitary. But there's also a pretty well-known newspaper that in Glasgow and maybe further afield that that focuses on crime, and it actually so that was the reason I didn't pick that, was because obviously I think some of the editors are actually kind of they have to get protection and stuff like that because they're writing about your kind of serious people who don't like to be written about or slagged or spoke ill of. So that was the reason I didn't pick that name, obviously, so there was no association. But some of the reason I wanted to get into doing this was because, so while I was in prison doing my last sentence, I started doing a degree with the Open University, and so it was a degree in criminology and psychology, but when I finished that, I started writing academically about stuff to do with prison rehabilitation, desistance from crime, prisoner re-entry, stuff like that. Now, for those of you who don't know what desistance or prisoner re-entry is, desistance is basically the academic study of how we as a society help prisoners lead productive and law-abiding lives once they get out of prison. And prisoner re-entry is basically the study of the issues and the processes faced by prisoners when they re-enter society. Obviously I have a lot of personal experience with all of that because obviously being in prison, coming out of prison, all this kind of stuff. But I'd published a few things academically, but obviously that's only targeted at a certain audience, so it's kind of a lot of big words and all this kind of stuff, and sometimes it even gives me a sore head just reading my own stuff or reading somebody else's stuff, because most of the time it's not like reading your kind of Harry Potters or your true crime books, whatever it is you read, because like it's just written in a way that's really kind of not mentally taxing, but I would say you just can't skim read this stuff. You need to really absorb it to understand what you're reading and take it in and be able to question it. So I got out and I wrote all this stuff, and I was kind of like, that's only targeted at a specific audience. So academics and maybe people who can kind of cope with reading something like that, So, and to be fair, people were saying to me all the time, you should do YouTube stuff and all that, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, I couldn't really have seen myself doing that, because obviously when I got out, I had a lot of stuff to deal with. Like, everything had just changed. Like, wow. The last couple of times before, it hadn't really phased me at all, but this time, in obviously getting out, I was a dad. So I went away when I got out in licence in 2010, and I was recalled to prison, like, say, a year and a half later. But I had 2 weeks after I went away, my son was born, and I got back out and he was 8 years old. So I had this all stuff was on out of me, obviously. But the stuff that had changed, I was just like I'd be going to a shop and I would just be going for a bottle of ginger, and there would be like, I'd walk into the shop and there'd be like 200 different makes, flavours, and I'd just be like, what the hell is going on here? Do you know what I mean? It was quite, and I'd just be overthinking it. I'd just be standing there like reading all these different types, because we're not used to that, like, especially being in jails where there's no kind of a high inflow, outflow. It's just the same guys that you're with. Maybe somebody would get moved or come in who'd been kicked out of another jail or kicked out the jail you were in for whatever reason. So like, all the issues are just like, wow. But as I said, that guy saying to me like, you should start doing YouTube stuff, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, I just don't see me doing that. But I'd been watching other prison stuff, but it's not so much Scotland, focused in Scotland. It would just be like America, places like that. So I'd really get into a couple of American channels. Really, really good, really insightful, different ball game over there completely, as anybody who's ever been to prison in Scotland would probably tell you, because everybody kind of reads about true crime stuff and all that in there anyway. So like, these other channels, like, so there was one in particular, there was three in particular that I would watch a lot. I still watch them. There was one that's a guy who he was a crack dealer, and he got like 40 year 40 year, right, for selling crack. I don't know if it was his first offence, but I think it was his first offence, right? But because of the amount of crack he was selling, it was like, kind of, they were putting it down as like, I don't know, kingpin kind of shit, right? So he got 40 year in his 20s, or his something like that, and he bettered himself in prison. And he actually won his appeal after, let's say, 25 years. Say he done like 25 years out of his 40 year sentence, but I think he was to do the full 40 or something. Got out. Guys just went from strength to strength. So that was that one. Another one that's kind of centred on, so this one's in California, right? So this guy's kind of Chicano, kind of Hispanic background, so a lot of his videos are centred around kind of the racial aspects and the politics and the gang stuff of America and California, obviously, because they have a lot of kind of, well, California used to be kind of, that was like the 33rd state to join the Union, so it was part of Mexico until then. So very, very interesting. And another one, it's a guy who just basically, he was a white kind of gang member, shot caller, whatever you want to call it, and using drugs, all the usual kind of backstory of people who are in prison. Guy was getting big sentence after big sentence, and he got out. Guy's basically a millionaire now, driving Lamborghinis, going to Dubai, shit like that, because he basically got out. And so his PT regime in prison, like his weightlifting and his cardio and all that, he basically got out and built this fitness empire. Guy's a multi-millionaire, get a penthouse apartment in San Diego, just like, so there is success stories of people that kind of, shall we say, desist from crime. Obviously, but they do seem to be kind of the exception. And what I wonder is, why are they the exception? Is it because they just had the grit to make a success? Did they get sick of prison? Or is it because they just didn't give up? Do you know what I mean? Because I think kind of the reoffending rates just kind of looks like it's been constant over time. So how are guys kind of how are some guys able to come out and stay out, and how are some guys just in and out, in and out, in and out? When I was in, so my last sentence was 16 years, but I got out halfway through it. I got out after 7 and was out for like a year and a half, went back in, finished the rest, and I would see these people in some places I was in. So they would be like, they would go out on the Friday and they'd be back on the Monday, and I'd be like, what the hell? Like, I just couldn't imagine like the feeling of just kind of like feeling like jail was your best option. Do you know what I mean? So and the prisons in Scotland are getting worse. For like when I started getting in, like as a 15-year-old, like especially with all these kind of drug issues, and so these are all kind of stuff that I'd like to talk about, obviously, when I'm coming on here, because obviously if prisons are getting worse, then why are they getting worse, and why is it that all these kind of, so like they have these things called prisoner programs, right? So it's like when I was in Shotts prison, there was a program that was called Violence Prevention Program. So it was like people who had free convictions for violence in their past who had to do this. Now I remember sitting on this, like one guy was actually a serial killer, like he was total maniac, but nobody spoke to him or anything, because obviously some of the things he done were just horrendous, not when. And he was a bit creepy, to be fair with you. So that was like a 6-month program. You sit on it every day, and like it's like group therapy. And one of the guys that I was on, so like they make the prisoner making it like, I don't know, like there's a lot of kind of, it's like frowned upon to speak about it in unglowing terms, because obviously if the prison are seen to be failing with programs, then how can they justify the funding? So these are all questions that I've asked myself this whole time. Even when I was doing my degree, I used to write about all this stuff. But the thing is, right, then I felt that eventually I came to the conclusion that I would do like videos and stuff, because these videos would obviously reach a target audience that academic writing wouldn't reach. And that's not to kind of denigrate anybody who, because let's be fair, not everybody likes reading, especially in this day and age of computers, video, these, everything's just technology now, so like you're lucky if you see anybody reading a book. So obviously the academic stuff, I'm not denigrating it at all, because obviously it was what kind of led, and it made a big impact on my thinking and how I changed and all that kind of stuff. So I just feel that doing these kind of videos would obviously reach like a different kind of group than professors, university students, excuse me, all these kind of people. And everybody has a kind of role in this, because if we as a society are saying we want people to rehabilitate, I say that because I don't call it rehabilitation, I just call it reform, because to me rehabilitation is like more of a medical thing. It's like I had a broken leg, but my leg's rehabilitated, it's back to the state it was in before it got broken. But I'm not back in the state I was in before I was broken. Do you know what I mean? No, I don't think anybody who's done serious time or done, maybe, I can't really speak for people who are like one time offenders. They go in, they come back out and never offend again. But people who are re-offending all the time, I can't say that them, like any of us, like go back to the state we were in before we started that kind of thinking cycle, like where you think that offending, whether it's shoplifting, shooting somebody, stabbing somebody, robbing a bank, whatever it is, like if that's your thinking day in day out, then that's obviously an issue, and it's deeply, to me it's like rooted somewhere, obviously. So and I'm seeing these kind of newspaper articles all the time and stuff on the news and all that, that that stuff that's going on in the prisons, and I'm just like, wow, like, and it's stuff that I've seen myself, so I'm not going to sit and lie and make it that I'm shocked by it, obviously, but I do think the media have a part to play in it as well, because it's like sensationalising a lot of things, obviously, like you need to sell newspapers, but it's there's just so many aspects of this whole kind of pie, this whole issue. Do you know what I mean? That it's just something that I would like to speak about to people. So I just thought I would do kind of a wee intro video. Do you know what I mean? While my kids at school and I have the house to myself, and I'm trying to get over this kind of cold. Do you know what I mean? So I'm definitely got to be on making more stuff and talking about other issues as they happen. I'm looking at kind of speaking to some people that I know from prison that have kind of they're like prison dictionaries, crime dictionaries. They could just, and they're intelligent people. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing about prison too. No, everybody's stupid. I always say, people used to say to me all the time, "Oh, you're so clever, you're so smart. What? Because I can read books." I know guys that could strip a car down and put it back together like a jigsaw. To me, that's smart. Do you know what I mean? So intelligence comes in many different forms. It's not just because somebody can read and write. Do you know what I mean? So these are all kind of things that I'll be looking to speak about on here, and hopefully that kind of one of the big things that I would like to kind of say before I go is I do hope that that there's going to, and that, to me it's kind of cliche saying this, like if my work could save one person, then my job's done, right? Because I remember being that kid and thinking when somebody said that to me, like, because all I ever wanted to be was what the way I was trying to be. But now being older, like I've just turned 41 a couple of months ago. Been in out of prison for the age of 15 to like 38, 39, whatever. But your perception changes when you have a kid. And I live in the area that was kind of the focus of all my offending in the surrounding areas, obviously, and where obviously I wasn't known for being good. I was known for all the wrong reasons, and obviously my kid growing up here, like I don't want that for my kid. And I see a lot of other kids, it's like they want to kind of carry weapons, go gang fighting, all this kind of stuff, man. It's only going to lead to, like, there's 3 doors all this will lead to, right? It's like in and out of prison all your life, or a slab on the mortuary. If you're lucky, you'll get life in jail. Do you know what I mean? Don't know how many people I've known. Like my young cousin gets stabbed to death. So I've been on the receiving end of knife crime and been the perpetrator. So like when you're young, your brain's not developed. You don't think about it like that. But when you get older, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. Trust me. You just start looking at it completely differently. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully, like, there'll be some people who just look at this and be like, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Because it isn't a life for anybody. It's just no. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just lucky enough to be able to come back and be able to tell my story as such. Do you know what I mean? So got to be back on soon once I start kind of figuring out what I want to speak about and all that. So thanks for listening.